Day 22 of quarantine. I started reading newspapers. I mean, who even does that anymore? After a while of reading, I realized I don't know how to read. I've turned to alternative forms of entertainment. Most of them are destructive. In these trying times, what's a man to do? I know. I'll take some black and white photos to express the despair of my situation.
Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be learning about black and white photography. So when you play around with the color scheme, you can create certain moods, certain effects, certain tones for your storytelling. Either way, if you're doing pictures or videos, color plays a very, very big role in telling the story. So, you know, if you have like darker colors and everything's like more muted, then you're gonna have like a kind of gritty, more serious tone. But if you have like really bright colors and everything is very colorful, it's gonna look a little bit more cartoonish or just playful in general. You know, back in the old days, they used to use black and white photography mainly because they didn't have any choice. But nowadays we do have a choice. There's a lot of tools at our disposal in this day and age. Now, when you're doing black and white photography, one thing that I always do, I make sure to shoot in color first and foremost, because you never know like whether that black and white footage is gonna look great. You never know if you might wanna add something, take away something. So I always shoot in color first and then process it later on. Another tip that I have for black and white photography is contrast. So you're gonna want lots and lots of contrast. Maybe not too much to where it looks like super dark and gritty, but if that's the style that you're going for, you know, black and white photography has a very versatile range. But what I mean by contrast is, so you see now the light is like very close to me right now and the camera's a little bit further away, so you get a lot of shadows. You can see the shadows mainly in the back moving around, but if I'm like a little bit closer to the light and then you know you don't really see the background, you get that blacked out. So that's what I mean by contrast. I'm covered in light and then the background is cast in shadows. I can play around with the light source. So you see now the shadows are on this side of my face and then the light is on this side. And you know, depending on exactly what you want to do with that, you can play around with it, make different moods, different effects. If you play around with your lighting source, you can get some really, really cool effects. You know, that silhouette that everyone loves. Hold on. So if you play around with it, you can get like a silhouette kind of effect. Or, you know, you can have portrait. You can have different type of portrait. Get creative with it. But yeah, the positioning of your light source, I'm just gonna put this down. So the positioning of your light source is key for the kind of photo that you wanna get. So make sure that you pay attention to that. Even if you just wanna turn your phone light on, and then if you're shooting on your phone, then maybe you can borrow like a flashlight or some other person's phone and then use that light, kind of like to just light it in different ways, play around with it. You know, you don't need big fancy equipment for whatever you want to do. You can have something as simple as this and it'll go a long way. So those are my tips for black and white photography. Now I'm going to show you a few examples. Let's step away from portraiture photography and let's go to objects.
And then after you master the mood that you're trying to create, I give you permission to break the rules just a little bit, maybe throw in a pop of color, see what you could come up with. I want to see your style. Alright, that's all for this week, End It. Until next week, peace.